In a world that is oftentimes extremely unforgiving, filled with over 7 billion people, and seemingly changing by the minute, how can you solidify yourself as an individual who makes their voice and ideas heard? You can do this by voting. Voting is one of the many individual rights here in the United States, but what is the purpose of voting? Along with this, why should you vote? Many people do not take advantage of their opportunity to vote, and this can drastically change the world around them. Voting is something that can make you who you are and can create the future that you wish to see. So, with the next presidential election coming up in November, I felt it would be appropriate to talk about why it is important for everyone to take advantage of their natural right to vote. As I'm sure most of you know, the next presidential election is coming up later this year. Many different countries use various ways to select their next leader. However, the United States uses a special way that allows the voices of millions to be heard. While this process of voting can at times seem lengthy and monotonous, it is, at the same time, the launching pad for your ideas and beliefs to be cast into the ballot box of the nation. When you vote, you are not only establishing yourself as a force for change for this country, but you are also continuing on a long tradition that was fought for hundreds of years ago. Even so, when you make the decision to vote, you are furthermore building yourself into a more complete version of who you are as a person through this declaration of what you believe. I mentioned earlier how millions of people vote in an election. With this in mind, is it not easy to feel that your vote might not matter in a sea of other votes? While this thought may be intimidating, it is simply not the case. The American Psychological Association gives a quote describing the process of voting as an expression of self-concept. If I am an American and Americans vote, then the act of voting is an expression of who I am. While this is true, voting goes much deeper than this. Voting allows everyday people living in this nation to change their conditions for the better and decide what is important for them. Described by ACT, a group that works to improve voter turnout across the nation, voting can be used to allocate money for education, youth programs, healthcare, veterans, creating jobs, the environment, and much more. These changes do not grow on trees. They are decided on and voted by you. Despite great efforts, there will always be people who choose not to vote. Nevertheless, there are still consequences for not voting. One of the biggest downfalls of not voting is ridding yourself of a say in how your tax dollars are distributed. As someone who will be voting for the first time in November, I want to use my platform as a voter to make sure that the money I pay in taxes is utilized in a way that I see fit. Along with this, when you deny your right to vote, you are in turn allowing someone else with potential different interests in mind to make this decision for you. At the end of the day, the responsibility to vote is up to you and me. We can choose to vote for what we deem as right, or we can stay home. Still, whether you vote or not, your action or inaction will bring about a different nation going forward. Voting is a natural right that can truly influence who you are and the world that you live in. As we've discussed, the purpose of voting is to make the voice of the people heard. It is a tool that allows the average citizen to shape the future into what they want it to be. However, this is not possible if you do not seize the opportunity to get out and vote. Many people do exactly that and leave their future up to chance. They allow their own right to vote to be wasted, but you can be the force to stop this trend. No matter where your beliefs lie or who you want to run for office, voting is the catalyst that can propel this nation to a better tomorrow. Thank you, and go vote.